Hey mums and dads, in this tutorial I want to quickly take you through how do you make the most of this course? How are you going to get the most out of it in the minimal possible time? I've spent the last 2 years looking at programs all around the world, looking at what works, what doesn't, and how do we do it in as small a possible time. So I've tried to condense that into this course, and here is how you can make the most of it. Number one, go through the tutorials with your teens. These tutorials come in 8 modules and they're going to be drip fed through to you over 8 weeks. Now, you don't, of course, have to do this. You can at any time come back to the course and pick and choose bits that you want to at a point in time where it's relevant to your teen. But in the first instance, a really good way to give yourself some discipline, structure and accountability around getting it done is simply to say, hey, here's an 8-week course, let's go through this together. So you've got the tutorials there. Most of the tutorials are only about 5 minutes long. There is the odd one that's a bit longer, but please persevere through that, because if they're longer, it's because they need to be longer. The second thing that I'd encourage you to do is go through the Kahoot quiz. In fact, you should probably do this first. With each module, there is a Kahoot quiz that will, and if you don't know what Kahoot is, ask your kids. I'm sure they do because schools use them a lot. They're really fun quizzes that you can go through and answer together. Now, in case you don't know the answers, I've put them in the parents section of the course so you know what the answers to each of these questions are. But it's a good learning process for your teen to go through, and it will create discussion, which is a really powerful thing. Now, the third thing, so first one should really be the Kahoot course, and then we're going to go through the tutorials with our kids. And then the third thing is there's homework tasks. Now, these aren't boring homework tasks like they set at school. These are homework tasks that can be integrated into everyday life, and that's the whole point. One of the biggest findings of my Churchill Fellowship research was that knowledge by itself is completely useless. In fact, knowledge accounts for about a 1.8% increase in financial capability. And that's all they seem to give our kids at school, or that's all they can give our kids at school. Where you have the advantage is we can take that knowledge and we can apply it in relevant real-life situations. And so that's what the homework tasks are going to be, is doing fun stuff with your kids to help them apply what they're learning. Then, so that's the third thing. The fourth thing then is that there are curly questions. So after the homework task, or as part of the homework task, there are curly questions. And think of these as discussion starters. This is where the kids can come to you and they get asked questions from about you and about your life. You know, mum and dad, what was your first job? How much did you earn? Did you ever get yourself into debt? Etc., etc. Now, I know some of that can be a bit scary, but I address that a little bit in the parents course. Don't be afraid of those sorts of questions, because they're fantastic opportunities, both the good and the bad experiences, to teach our kids some valuable lessons so that hopefully they can avoid the mistakes that we've made. And then the last thing, and I think I said 4, but I'm on to my 5th one now. The last thing is, please, please, please interact in the Facebook group. I did think about actually having a set Q&A every week, but that doesn't work for everyone. So what I want you to be able to do is ask your questions in the Facebook group. We will be looking at that every day. We will be answering questions every day. And then once a week we will also be, actually it might be more than once a week, but on a regular basis, we will be answering the questions via live videos in Facebook so that you get the answers to all the questions you're struggling with. There should be no gaps in your knowledge. There should be no excuses not to teach your kids about money. So there we go. The 4 or 5 things to make the most out of this course. So get stuck into it, and I promise you that we are here for you. We will answer your questions. There's really no obstacles to helping your kids become financially independent young adults.